From the shores of Monrovia to the world online, a voice rises higher, standing strong through time, telling stories of a people, lifting truth with pride. Where the heartbeat of a nation has a home to shine. You give the voiceless power, you let the world all see the beauty and the struggle of our history. Through every debate, every story you tell, light up the darkness where silence once fell. Focus on Liberia, let the truth be our guide. A bridge for every Liberian, at home and worldwide. You carry us our stories, our hopes and our dreams, uniting a nation through your powerful streams. Focus on Liberia, forever we stand, with knowledge, with courage, rebuilding our land. In the diaspora cities, where our people roam, you connect every voice to the place we call home. From politics to culture, every truth you unfold, keeping Liberians informed, empowered and bold. You're the drumbeat of freedom, the echo of peace, the fire that reminds us our pride never ceases. And through every challenge, you rise up again, a guardian of wisdom with the heart of a friend. Focus on Liberia, let the truth be our guide. A bridge for every Liberian, at home and worldwide. You carry our story, our hopes and our dreams, uniting a nation, be a powerful team. Focus on Liberia, forever we stand, with knowledge, with courage, rebuilding our land. When organization.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of the show, Between the Headlines, we are glad to have with us our friends from the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship, joining us so that we can talk about the impact of dual citizenship since it was passed in 2022. From that time till now, how has things been? So we're going to talk about that. Also, the next chapter is to campaign for out-of-country voting so that people, especially in the diaspora, can vote in the elections in Liberia. With me, I have someone who has been in the trenches all along for this thing. Eminent Emmanuel Sonnyboy Weti is the chairman of ARCO, that is the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. Mr. Weti, welcome to our show. You're muted, sir.
I said, thank you very much, and thank you for having me back home.
Thank you, and welcome home. Let me also welcome the national coordinator of the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. That's Mr. Alva Tonga. Alva, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Thank you. We've been following your show for many years, and we appreciate your consistency in telling our stories. So we say thank you.
Thank you so much, and welcome. Thank you for the support. We couldn't do this all alone. People like you keep following and keep supporting. And just by saying, "Oh, I watched the show," at least that can sometimes make our day. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's get into our topic. First of all, let's set the stage, Mr. Wetty, by saying, the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. I know we've talked about this several times, and tell me a little bit about the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship and what the role has been when it comes to dual citizenship that we got now. We're going to come to the impact.
Okay. Well, the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship is a legal entity registered in the state of Ohio, and with the federal government, we advocate for dual citizenship. We Our membership include individual librarians, organizations, and partners that we work with that believe in our dream and in our advocacy of advocating for dual citizenship and other country voting. Those are the two things that our perimeter fall within, our scope falls within. We don't go beyond, above, or below that. It's either dual citizenship or other country voting.
Thank you. And Mr. Tonga, welcome to the show too. Your role as national coordinator of the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. What do you do?
So I'm a community organizer. At the end of the day, I facilitate the day-to-day operations of the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship, make sure that we're working with different committees, make sure we're working with different organizations, just to ensure that the advocacy continue. So I'm just managing the operations and the day-to-day activities of the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship is my role.
Thank you. So for some of us, we thought having dual citizenship now, the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship was going to be disbanded. But Mr. Wetty often told us advocacy is not an event, it's a process. So Mr. Wetty, tell me, why is the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship still around?
Well, we stay around because the convention advocacy is not an event, it's a process. What we achieve is by the law. We achieve a law that was repealed by the Liberian legislature. So it is possible that someone can come up and put the law back. So we want to keep the topic on the table, and this thing will not be done until we have a constitutional change that will allow dual citizenship. So we are staying to the very end until it is constitutionally resolved. And we want to make sure we keep the topic on, because we believe very soon that the Liberian government will be thinking, if not, to change the constitution. So we want to be around to make sure that the issue of dual citizenship is not left alone.
All right. And before I come to what we've been up to, dual citizenship, when it was passed, a lot of people had different things with some of the provisions. Is ACO working on those things too? Because, like for instance, people, it drew a line in the sand of what dual citizens couldn't or could do. Is that something that you're still working on?
Yes. ICO is working on, we're going to be going to Liberia, discussing with partner. I will be working on moving those restrictions, because you remember very readily that we said, let us get into the house and we can decide the next step. So now that we have dual citizenship, our next step is to go and remove those restrictions.
Thank you. Alpha, I know when you were coming on the show, probably people ask you, dual citizenship, what is it? What is, when somebody might have asked you, because people really don't even know what it means. What will you say to somebody who want to say, what is this dual citizenship all about? What will you tell them? Talk to my entry to a dual market about what this is, or the importance of dual citizenship.
That's a great point, and I'll try to be as practical as possible. We have one of our community members who her children were born in the United States, and previously she couldn't really transfer her citizenship over to her child. And when the passage of the dual citizenship went through, sometime this year, she managed to go to the Liberian embassy and managed to get a passport for her son. Her son is a U.S. born, and now he has a Liberian passport and he has a United States passport. So, from a practical explanation, the passage of the law outside of the demarcation that was in the provision, it allows the typical Liberian, the simpler Liberian, to have equal rights, whether it's owning properties, whether it's being able to hold your citizenship, additionally, and passing a woman passing down her citizenship to her child. So we're living it, we're seeing it practically. So the impact of the law has have a very positive impact on most of our community members.
And that's a good example, Mr. Wetty, the example that Alpha gave. Somebody will also ask you, why is that important?
Well, it is
already in the US where everybody wants to come.
Yeah, it is important because we believe once a Liberian, always a Liberian. We believe that the country Liberia will be developed by those in the diaspora. We believe that any child that is born by a Liberian mother is a citizen of Liberia at birth. We believe that any child that is born by any Liberian, so long you have a DNA of a Liberian, you are a Liberian. You are a Liberian, and that country is your country. One day you go home to help develop the country. So that's why it's very important in this global age and time that we're in. Having dual citizenship is good for your home country. You can take the resources, you can go replace or bring dream with bring gain. You can carry your resources in and help the country. So having dual citizenship show a sense of belonging and a sense of connection to your motherland.
Thank you. Alpha, people, the example you give, even that child, is the child excited about that? Is this something that the parents are more or less imposing? Or is this something that the children too want?
So the new breed of Liberian kids, we call them the new Liberian children. They're experiencing some level of pride by being Liberian. This is not just happening in Liberia; it's happening in the entire continent. People are being proud to say they're African, they're from Africa. So our kids are proud. And this specific example that I just shared, it was actually the child that asked his mother, how can I get a Liberian citizenship? This is a child that was born in the United States. I think he's about 20 years old. And he's asking his mother, how do I get a Liberian citizenship? So that's when she reached out to us and we told her now it's possible and this is the process. And it was a smooth process. Now he plans on going to Liberia. He wants to play basketball overseas. So it's a lot of excitement for this law that was passed recently.
Thank you. Mr. Wetty, let me come back to you. It's been since 2022, this law has been passed. You know the question where it's going to be now. What has it accomplished? What has it done? What changed since then?
The important thing is that we can change we can turn the question around to those that they want dual citizenship. That if you have dual citizenship, the guys will come and take our job, they will take our houses, they will do this, they will do that. Nothing have changed. We are all Liberians. Right now, those with dual citizenship can obtain the Liberian passport. They can vote in Liberia. They can own a land. Since the passage of the law, Liberians are connected to the country. You can see the July 26th program that was held this year. Look at the diaspora conferences that's going out. I mean, everywhere people travel down, people in the diaspora want to be connected to the country because the law allowed them to make to feel that they are Liberians. Once a Liberian, always a Liberian. You can vote in the country. You can have your national ID card. You can have your passport. You can travel with your Liberian passport, and nothing. You are back to where you were. So everybody is happy. And the only thing I want to say is that those that were seeing that, oh, there will be corruption, will come and take the money and then leave the country. None of this things are happening. And you know what happened, Dennis? This is very interesting. Since the passing of the law, nobody have gone to the Liberian Senate for confirmation hearing, and anybody have and the question have been asked, do you have dual citizenship? That question have never been asked since the law have taken into effect.
Good. I like what you the way you turn the question around, right? Because actually there were people who were thinking that the sky was going to fall when people become dual citizen. What I've heard was, well, if somebody commits crime in Liberia, then they will run here under the dual citizenship or XYZ, yada yada yada. But the sky has not fallen. But the other way now, really what I want to find out, the way, I mean, for how many years, over 10 years you were fighting, what has been the benefit? You know, just having the passport, is that enough?
No, Dennis, having the passport is important. It allows you to go home to invest. When people leave and go to Liberia, you know, they stop in the hotel, they get transportation. They are putting money into the local economy. They feel connected. Many Liberians are going home. And at the end of the show, there's a video we ask that you play so you can see what people are actually doing. So having a passport, you can travel on the continent of Africa without any issue. You know, you can go home to Liberia and do what you want to do. I mean, you have that liberty. As you can see right now, a lot of diaspora Liberians are going home. A lot. And when they go home, they get a passport, they get a national ID card. They're trying to invest in all aspects of the economy. So that connection is there.
Good. Alpha, what were we not able to do that we are doing now? What changed on the positive side? I mean, people were still building houses in Liberia, we're still having businesses, we're doing everything. What has the needle moved? Have we now, you know, I hope you follow what I'm saying. Are we getting things better? Is there an improvement? Are we being accepted more?
Yeah, I think it's an improvement. Even the recent conference that was held in Washington, D.C., the organizers were pretty much excited about the number of Liberian diasporas that already attended that conference. And a lot of the issues around this dual citizenship had created a momentum around the diaspora community. Whether individuals have been using it directly or indirectly, the conversation has really sparked some level of interest, some level of excitement or momentum in the direction in which the Republic of Liberia is going. And thank God to a positive administration that embraces that. But let me just touch back to the point. The law is always a law until someone tries to break the law or you get in confusion. The issue about purchasing land in Liberia, if you're not before you're not a Liberian citizen, it only takes one person to blow the whistle at that time to say, hey, this guy is not a Liberian citizen and he's owning the land. So now, with all of these barriers that have been removed, I think the diaspora has become less and less marginalized. So, when you see these laws, the impact, you don't really experience those impacts immediately. They take time. There's still processes that has to be put in place. There's still some marketing and awareness that has to be put around it. But there's a momentum right now among the diaspora Liberians, and people are feeling comfortable to go home and invest, go home to retire, to know that their retirement or their investments will be protected.
Good. Mr. Wetty, thank God, you know, that if I'm running to be superintendent of Sino, nobody will ask me that, right? But has there been any framework because when the law is passed, that's not all to it, right?
Yeah.
There got to be stuff, you know, people got to write the framework and all the legal things, the procedure, the processes around those laws, right? What has it been with dual citizenship since it was passed? what is the foreign ministry? What are they done or put together as to how we do things?
Well, currently, I'm not aware about the any operational definition, but what I'm aware on the foreign ministry, the Lion Liberian would need to have the passport. The immigration, when you go to Liberia, you know, with your Liberian passport, you can enter the country without having a visa. So there is something in place until they can come up with an operational definition. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I want to commend them for their understanding, and the Justice Ministry, the Immigration, for their understanding of accepting us. You know, you go to the Foreign Ministry, there's no issue. You can just walk in and get your passport. You go to the immigration, there's no issue, show your Liberian passport, you enter, there's no visa question. So until we can have a full-fledged operational definition, there are things in place that are making the process to be welcome and to be appreciated. And just the question you asked, what have changed? Liberians now can own the land in Liberia. They don't have to pass through the cousins, the nieces, the brothers, the sisters to buy the land. They can walk straight and buy the land in their own name, and there will not be any issue. That have changed. And what have changed, a child born by a Liberian woman is a citizen of Liberia at birth. What have changed, the United Nations have removed Liberia from the gender bias when it comes to children. We in nationality law, that's the right term I want to use. The United Nations have removed Liberia from being biased when it comes to nationality law. That have changed. We our citizen, you don't the issue of citizenship is not determined by the father and not the mother. The issue of citizenship is not determined by both the father and the mother. That have changed.
Thank you. Thank you. And how are we using this change, or how Liberians now, because of this, how are we? Oh, no, Alpha, I wanted you to even comment on that, or on the framework, the operational framework. I know you have something to say. Go ahead, sir.
No, I think it was sometime earlier this year, Mr. Wetty was doing a presentation in California, I think, and we did extensive research around what framework have been put in place for Liberians to know that that this law is in place now and this is how they can benefit. And some of the challenges that we saw, there was nothing written in black and white that gave a procedure, like a procedural document that shows that, hey, this is what you need to do if you're a Liberian citizen and you're a citizen for another nation. A lot of the embassies or the consulates across the globe, the Liberian consulates, don't even have a current working document in terms of how they can implement it. Another challenge that we also found out was the awareness of it, right? The common person, our aunties and our uncles in our community, don't even know how that law benefits them. So those are some of the challenges that we saw. But on the positive note, the law is on the books, and the government, the respective agencies are doing their best to put something together. This is something that will take some public and private partnership as well, though, because we, from our core perspective, we push the law. We should be able to support the Liberian government in terms of how those laws are being implemented. And as we go into our second phase, these are some of the conversations that we'll be having so that the actual Liberian, the common Liberian in our communities will know the true benefit and they can take advantage of it as well.
And we appreciate what ARCO is doing, but is it that because you push for the law is there now? You know, it's like somebody writing constitution and want to be the one to enforce it. I mean, the rest of the work shouldn't be you. You can be there for, you know, you can still be resourceful and push, But that aspect, are you taking on too much if you want to be, if you want to do stuff like that?
No, no. So we're not proposing. Accor is not proposing to lead the implementation. Matter of fact, Accor cannot be in that position to lead the implementation of it. However, it is Accor responsibility to continue the advocacy and continue to create awareness around this law that took us over 10, 15 years to pass. So we're not proposing or anticipating on implementing it, but we would like to work alongside other public and private partnerships to see how this law can actually be like rolled out in a more practical and beneficial way. But to answer your question, we're not taking on too much. We're just figuring out a way to create the awareness around the benefits of this law.
I think the Accor boss love your answer. You may be getting a call from him with some truth. But Mr. Wetty, so
Yeah.
what has been that partnership? What does it look like? What is the plan now so that, okay, even though we are not the one implementing it, but this is what we know, what has that process, that campaign, and your effort has been in making
Well,
sure that we have something laid out?
yeah. When the law passed, we met with official the foreign ministry, and that's how the foreign ministry now is able to allow those with dual citizenship to get a passport. The foreign ministry have accepted the law. They implementing the law. There's no question. If you have dual citizenship, you can get your passport. The immigration is allowing Liberians to travel with the Liberian passport, despite the fact that they have another passport. So these two things are working for now. On the issue of land, you can purchase the land. Nobody's going to ask you. In Liberia now, I encourage everyone of us that will go in December to go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. If you don't have a passport, get your passport, because you can use your Liberian passport to open banks. To open an account at a bank, to do businesses, to do what you want to do. Instead of using a U.S. passport, Australian passport, or Canadian passport, you can use your Liberian passport and do just normal business as any other Liberian.
And talking about more procedure, how things are written out so that it's clear as to how we can.
Yeah, and that's true, Dennis. We try our best in America, that the foreign ministry and the justice ministry implementing it good. We try our best so that it can be written. It can be some document that will be spread out to the embassy and everywhere. We're trying our best, but for now, we live with what we have.
Okay. That's they say small, right?
Yeah, small.
One guy say, "Well, I always love small. I don't hear big. I always hear small."
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
It's almost 3 years now, but maybe maybe somebody, maybe we can draft something. But anyway,
Yeah.
let me talk about the benefits. Who can talk about these benefits like more succinctly than the Reverend?
Good evening. My name is Reverend Charles Levi Martin. I'm pastor and founder of the Unity Fellowship Baptist Church in Willingboro, New Jersey, a congregation predominantly of Liberians from West Africa, our native land. I'm also CEO of C. Levi Martin Ministries with mission work in Liberia, in schools, churches, education, and the welfare of our people. I'm also the passport. But because of the effort of the eminent you that this is real, amen, they've been able to help making permanently once a Liberian, always a Liberian possible, and etched into the law of the land of our nation. I want to just share with you that this is real. Amen. They've been able to help us become dual citizen in the United States of America, and of course our native land that we've always been natural citizens of. I hold in my hand passports of myself, my daughter, my wife, and my sister Rhodesia, who's currently in Liberia, and I still hold my American passport. But because of the effort of the eminent Emmanuel, Wetty, and Alcott, we now have dual citizenship, and I can carry with me proudly my Liberian passport. There they are. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of this, and I want to thank the eminent Emmanuel Wetty and his staff and all those who have worked relentlessly and tirelessly over the year to ensure that we have dual citizenship. Please take advantage of it, and when you're in the area, come and worship with us here in Willingboro, or join us any day of the week, Monday through Friday, on Charles Levi Martin Facebook or Reverend Charles Levi Martin for your early morning prayer. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, eminent.
All right. That's Reverend Martin. You want us to bring the Reverend back?
Yeah,
All right. So
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So Reverend, and thank you. So as you go to exchange your passport, Reverend Martin just show his passport. In your experience, has there been, because there will always be people that are trying to take advantage of the situation. So if I went to Liberia, I want to get my passport, what are they asking for? What are some of the things based on your experience that are put into place so that the system is not abused, so that other nationals wouldn't come and say, hey, give me Liberian passport?
What I do know is that at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they have a procedure. One of the key thing is for you to show your Liberian birth certificate. That's one of the key documents, show that you are a Liberian. So, when you have that, it's okay. They will allow you to get a passport. Now, in the event of someone who was born in Australia, Canada, United States, Europe, all you need to do is to show the birth certificate of your parents to show that your parents are Liberians. That's all you need to do. And with that, they will be able to accept it. And I think they have another rule, which I'm not too sure. I think if you cannot have the birth certificate, I think you can have 2 letters. I'm not too sure on that. I think 2 letters of identification for the pastor or for somebody to say, oh, this person, is a Liberian. But on the books, you need to show or carry the birth certificate of your parents, and they will allow you to have your Liberian passport.
Right, and that is, we're not trying to be negative here, but from what I understand, to get birth certificate in Liberia is just a matter of paying money. So, how do we know that this system is not prone to abuse? You may not have the answer because you are not the immigration, you are not the one giving the birth certificate or the passport. But will this also, do you see it as opening up that possibility of people kind of
I understand your concern, but I believe in the Liberian government system to protect the integrity of giving passport readily. I don't have any means, I don't have any reason to doubt that. So let's go on the positive line, that because we don't have the resources to check them.
Right.
We just agree that, okay, look, the Liberian government have a system in place to verify that this document of passport or what you presenting is correct. So let's take that as a face value. If you can present the document required by the foreign ministry, you can get your passport. That's the path of our advocacy. So if you can show that your mother, your parents' birth certificate, if you can show I think 2 or 3 persons, a pastor, to identify you, is okay. But for now, Dennis, I will appeal to you, let us accept that the process that the government of Liberia have in place to attain birth certificate is okay.
And I accept that, faith, faith alone can cut it, right? Because I don't want, the reason I'm asking is, you've been working for this thing for years. Now we got it. If people are abusing it, that's a concern. So just want to make sure that
No,
it's
I understand, I agree, but we don't know of anybody abusing it yet. I
okay,
understand what you're saying, Dennis. I
and it will
understand.
never happen.
I didn't say that either.
All right. That takes me to another thing that dual citizenship, it's going to have. I mean, it has meaning now, but it's going to have more weight if you are able to participate in the elections in Liberia, which unfortunately we're not able to unless you go to Liberia. And that brings out to out of country voting. When I study about out of country voting, is in the constitution. Okay. In fact, what is happening in Liberia now is if you leave as even an election worker, if you leave Monrovia and you take the ballot to Grand Jiden, you can't even vote for senator or representative anymore because you're not there. Okay, you can only vote for president. If you're a security person and all that, in fact, embassies, the consulate, all these areas, they're not voting in the election. I mean, this is bad. But now you take on the other challenge of advocating for out of country voting. Let's start with that. What has been, when you started this and why you think that something that you should also take on? The way, dual citizenship gave you hard time, you want to start another thing, at least you got to take your victory lap and go.
Well, I will allow Alpha to talk more, but let me just start the conversation. Actually, to admit, out of country voting and dual citizenship were the two things we adopted December, the weekend of December 7 to 8, 2012, when we met in Washington, D.C. We adopted that we're going to advocate for dual citizenship. If we get dual citizenship, then we're going to advocate for out of country voting. But we could not advocate for other country voting when we not had dual citizenship. So we invested all of our time in getting dual citizenship. Now that, at least to some extent, that issue is resolved, we want to start the advocacy for other country voting. So then yes, it is true that it gave a hard time, but we believe that advocacy is not an event, it's a process, and we need to have it on. If we leave, other people can pick it up. But we do not want the topic to die. We do not want it to phase out. So even though it giving us the challenge, the challenges are there, we want to keep it going. So if we're not around, another generation can pick it up. Our goal here is that one day in the future, we will have other country voting. And we'll let Alpha to go on.
And what are you hopeful?
Oh, that's just my nature. I'm very optimistic. That's me.
Okay.
I mean, then I better show, when we started with the dual citizenship, everybody threw me out. But I kept my focus, and that's me. That's who I am.
Thank you. From Bassa teenage all the way.
Yeah, from Bassa teenage all the way to BWI. That's what I believe.
Mr. Tongo, let's talk about out of country voting. First of all, what does that mean?
Dennis, thanks for that question. And for full disclosure, we are not experts on the topic of out of country voting. We are mere community organizers who have been organizing communities in small groups, larger groups, and it's our goal here to push the needle just a little bit further. The issue of dual citizenship been passed on paper. We, like you said in your previous statements, we want to see how practical it is, how practical for the common Liberian to be able to utilize that. So the out-of-country voting is something that ACOL has begun doing some extensive research on. We have created a draft of a framework. I think I have shared this with you. It's a 20-page document of what this phase of this advocacy will look like. And John, let me say this. I have been around Mr. Wetty and others for a very long time before, and I witnessed their struggles. I witnessed the commitment and the passion that they put into the advocacy work. I witnessed them using their own resources I've witnessed them leave their jobs to go to Liberia just to make sure that this topic stay on the radar. This phase of the advocacy, I think we're optimistic that it's going to be slightly different. The issue on our country voting is not strange. There's 141 countries right now across the globe that participate in it. Some members of our West African corridor, Senegal, Ghana, and Nigeria don't have it. But in 2006, Ghana actually passed a law, but due to some political pushback, they haven't been able to implement it. The backlash or some of the pushback that we get is around the cost of it. It's a huge commitment. In Liberia, whom domestic elections cost the government anywhere between $1 to $2 per person. Any elections outside of that, you're roughly around $5 to $20 as it relates to travel costs, as it relates to security and the integrity of the elections. So this phase of the advocacy, our goal here is really to see how we can strategically do it and do it in terms of bringing in partners that will support us in the research, partners that will support us in the financing of it, partners that will support us in all of the logistics. How do we get the embassies involved? So we put some phase steps together in order for us to lead this effort. And as we move forward, we'll be bringing a lot of other partners on board in different sectors of the advocacy. But it's not going to be an easy task. We're going to make sure it's a little more structure as we move to the next level.
And what is the vision?
So
at
go ahead.
the end of the day, when everything is perfect, what do you want to accomplish?
I want to be able to go to a Liberian embassy in Washington, D.C. and cast my vote as a Liberian. I want my daughter, when she turned 18, she should be able to go to her a local consulate or a nearest consulate to cast her vote. The diaspora want to be involved in the decision-making process as it relates to how we elect our leaders and who our leaders are. And we have been impacting the economic. I mean, some numbers say it's 18% of the GDP. Other reports that you read say it's slightly higher than that. So right now we're just an economic arm, but we want to be able to participate in the democracy arm of it. So at the end of the day, I want to be able to go to Washington, D.C. and cast my vote.
Okay. Mr. Wetty, I saw somewhere where you wrote, you say, hey, we want to cast our vote for president, vice president only. You know, the senators, because you have to be in that local. Let's talk about that. What is it that you want to accomplish? You're just president, vice president, no senator, no representative. You know, we want to get superintendent and mayor elected. You know, what's the
yeah, Aqua just explained to you that the economic cost of even having one person to vote, as compared to even in Liberia. So from what we've been reading and from research and from international standard, we could be wrong, but I think all the data is showing that the other country voting is restricted to president and vice president. And that's what we know so far. Until there's anything otherwise, we don't know it. So all the information we are gathering and what other countries are doing, it only being limited to president and vice president. And that's why we're going through that trend. Go ahead.
And just to piggyback off of that, Dennis, we're as we start having conversations around this topic, we want to make sure that the research is thoroughly done, and we want to also make sure what are best practices, right? Out of the 141 countries that are participating in out-of-country voting right now, over 80% of them only do president and vice president, right? So we're looking at these case studies to see, okay, how does this apply to our scenario? Why is it only the presidents and the vice president? What are some of the challenges around the parliament? and a lot of them are coming around cost. But we're just absorbing right now and looking at what best practices looks like and what our neighbors are doing, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we'll figure out a way to select the best practice and get the right partners on board to be able to move this needle forward.
I mean, why do you need to determine who the president of Liberia is if you're not living there?
Dennis, we are Liberians.
Okay.
We are Liberians. Irrespective of our geographical locations, we are Liberians. We are connected to the country. So if we are, like Alpha mentioned, if we are economic arm of the country, then of course it's good that we all have to determine to participate in the process to know who our leaders are. I mean, it's common sense. If I'm giving you my money, then of course, I have the right to know, how the resources have been managed. And we just want to introduce this. I thank Alpha for the analysis, for looking around, making the research and making the case. Now, Alpha mentioned the U cost, and this is a major thing. Everybody we talk to, oh, we don't have the money. We don't have the money to implement it. We don't have the money to implement this. We don't have the money. So ICO have come up with another idea in addition to what we have. Alpha, you want to talk about that? Or you want me to go ahead?
You go ahead and talk about that.
Okay. So, and Alpha will come in with the idea too. What we see right now, the law allows Dennis to go to Liberia, register to vote. Dennis will have to come back to the United States, with family, return to Liberia again to vote. So first you go to Liberia to register to vote. You come back. Time for election, you go to Liberia and you cast your vote. If your party will go for the second round, you can either stay in London or you come back to the States or Australia or China. Then you go back to Liberia and vote. So the new path, in addition to the full-scale other country voting, we want to do it in phases. We are suggesting that you have voter registration center in the diaspora. What is that? This will allow Mr. Jackson to go to the Liberian embassy, just register a team from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Electoral Commission with other staff will be at the Liberian embassy to register you to vote. And guess what happened? The foreign ministry that will generate income because people will go there, get their passport, because that will be used as an identification card. So you go in there and register at the embassy. When you register at the embassy, you only go to Liberia to cast your vote. So that saves you a trip. And the money from that trip can be used to help your political party or your political interest. So that's another phase that we want to do, because we're hoping that if we can do that, if we can have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Election Commission to come in the diaspora and have voter registration center, register us, then after that we can go to Liberia and vote. So that's another idea that we have as we go along, hoping for a full scale on the country voting.
So at the start, the registration will be done here, but the voting in Liberia.
Yes, correct. Register in the diaspora.
Out of country registration.
Yeah, out of country registration.
It's not voting yet.
Yeah, but it's a process. Alpha, go ahead.
So, Mr. Dennis, we want to be strategic how we approach this. And before address that question, I want to go back to your previous question. Why is it important that I'm living in America and want to determine who is the president for Liberia and who is the vice president for Liberia? It's very important. I will speak from a practical sense. I've been a community leader in my community for many years. I deal with a lot of different people, different ages. My parents are in their, I think my dad is like 65 or over, and my mom is heading towards retirement. And every time you talk to a Liberian that is hitting that age, they want to go back to Liberia to retire. They want to go back to Liberia and take their 401ks with them. They want to go back to Liberia and take their social security with them. But a challenge that they're facing, because when they get there, they have to come back to take their medicine, right? So because of that, the barrier of going back home to retire, it has been very, very challenging. And the country is suffering because these people are not that comfortable to go to Liberia and retire because the proper infrastructure is not there to accommodate them. And this is where leadership comes in, right? With the diaspora determining and participating in that process, we will have the ability to say, you know what, we want better roads, we want better healthcare, we want to have a way and create buffers for our senior citizens to go back home and retire. So it's very important for us to participate, or for Liberians to participate in that process, because it adds another layer of economic value to the country. And you will see a huge drone of Liberians going back if they can be actively involved in determining who their leaders are.
That is profound. I want to, because I love that part of it. We will stay on there for a little bit. Some people are, Joseph trying to help out here. He said, Mr. Respond to the same question. He said, once a Liberian, always a Liberian, despite where you are located. So Joseph think that yes, we can be here and still vote because we are Liberians. And Anthony Gay is not, he's giving Mr. Wetty another name. He said Mr. Wetty is known for restriction on Liberians, just as he did with the dual citizenship bill. And I think what he's talking about here, he says, so if I can register here, why not vote here as well? Why are you always in the business of doing things halfway, Mr. Wetty? Mr. Wetty, explain yourself.
Yes. I strongly believe that the advocacy is not an event, it's a process. When we started up the issue of dual citizenship, some said that we should have dual citizenship with all restrictions. For the best of my knowledge, I think the state of Israel is the only one that have dual citizenship without restriction. We argue that, look, let's have some kind of restriction. And what is the restriction? It says 3 ministries, the ordinary Liberian are going on their normal life. Now that we have it, the next generation or us can start the advocacy to remove those restrictions. And one day in our lifetime or beyond our lifetime, we have a free, open doors with all no restriction. There will be no restriction. That's the ultimate goal. Coming back to election, we are privileged. Let me use the word that we are privileged to share oxygen with decision makers in Liberia. And they tell us their honest view that, look, this is a good idea. We don't have the money. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have this. But we want other countries voting. So we got to be creative and do things step by step. If we can have registration in the diaspora, if that concept can be accepted, and we go to Liberia and vote for our leader, then of course, one day it will be, oh, well, if you guys can register at the embassy, then of course they can vote at the embassy. So that's the baby steps. And that's what I believe. And Mr. Anthony, I do respect your view, but in leadership, you got to know the right path to achieve what you want. You may not be the one to achieve that, but you can create the condition, you can create the path for people to go. Now today, we have a dual citizenship. Nobody talking about the restrictions. Nobody talking about except those that have that want to be in politics. So at least we have something, and we're working towards removing those restrictions. It is better to have and improve. You know, one thing in life, Dennis, you cannot improve something that you do not have.
Mhm.
So we have one, we can improve the dual citizenship. We have, if we can register in the diaspora and go to Liberia and vote one day, we register in the diaspora and vote in the diaspora. That's the ultimate goal.
Thank you. And Alpha, you said something that the leadership, because what's happening in Liberia, right? We want to be able to determine that or have a say so in it because it's going to affect our lives. You know, at least some people have 401k when they go. Me, I finish my 401k before I even go. So there really got to be something there that will sustain us because we are used to a certain way. You know, one guy told me, he said the mosquito in Labrador, they know when you come from the diaspora. So they will pass by all the people and come bite you.
They come by you.
So but you know, we've been actually having a say so. We've been determined except for voting. Almost every political party, they got their people in America. They will come, they will raise money, they will do all kinds of things. If they win, then they call them, they go and work. After they lose power, they come back, right? It's like that seesaw we've been on, and we see them with, you know, when they're there. So we are actually been impacting the elections, and some will even take it a step further, say some of the Warren faction were organized here. So we've been doing those things, impacting, but this time we want to do it through voting. Talk to me more about that.
So I respect your point. In our Liberian communities, in our whether is the Liberian community in Ohio or the Liberian community in Pennsylvania, when you say elections, you will see people will bring their old man there in a wheelchair. They will bring everybody in from different places in order for them to exercise their right to vote, and the impact is always based on the number of people that are coming out. Right now, as we speak, the current strategy is the political parties come here, they raise money, right, with a small group of individuals, and if they win the elections in Liberia, they win their elections. But the votes are not being migrated, right? If the votes can be done here, I think there's going to be some equalization. In addition to the funding of the elections, you also now have my mom come vote, my pa come vote, everybody come vote. Now it's more of a competitive landscape. But right now it's not competitive because the political parties just come to the US to raise funds, or they come to the diaspora to raise funds. They don't count the votes. We want to be able to participate, we want to raise money, and we want to be able to vote.
Mr. Wati, you know I'm coming to you straight with politics, right?
That's
Because
all right.
our country is such that our leaders are not most of the time making the best decision, right? But we kind of support them anyway. What's going to change for the way we do business if we from the diaspora are voting? What's going to change the way we elect leaders and the caliber and quality of people that are elected with the diaspora voting?
Well, what would change it would be that those that be running for positions in Liberia, if they know that the diaspora are actually involved, you know, I don't want to undercut anybody. Excuse me if I say something. I'm not offending anybody, but we in the diaspora, to some level, have the resources, have the means, have the will to be independent in making decisions politically. You know, because we are independent, because we have the resources, you're not going to push me around with a cup of rice to determine my vote. You're not going to push me around. So if we are involved in the process, our political leaders will know that they are obligated doing the right thing. Because the next time come around, they will find themselves out. So that would be the key. That would be the key. Yeah, that would be the main thing. Because you come to talk to me, you're not coming to bring a cup of rice to talk to me. You come in to talk to me, you are not going to pay my children's school fee to talk to me. You come to talk to me, you're not going to pay my daughter hospital bill. No, you come to talk to me, you come to talk to me as an independent person. I have my own, I have my own resources. So when we get into the midst, things will change. Things will change because we come in with everything. And let me say it politically. Look.
Yeah, I want you to be politically correct before you get in trouble.
Let me say, all the political parties, the financial bill is in the diaspora, but not one of them are advocating for all the country voting. Not one of them are advocating to say, oh, how do we allow these people here to actually vote? No, all they want to do, come and get our money and go. It's not right. It's not right. If my money is good to support you, then my vote should be good to determine who my next leader is. It's not right. This whole vacation in July, all of the political parties were in the states, from Pennsylvania to Minnesota, having this meeting and that meeting. In Europe, the same thing. In Canada, the same thing. They found it very good to come here and take our money. They found it very well to come here and say that we support them, but not one of them will join this line and say, oh, these guys in the diaspora, how can we allow them to vote? What can we do? If my money is good to run your campaign, then my vote should be good to determine that. And that's all we're saying. And then we know it's not going to be easy. We know that. And that's why we are developing all of the path to see which one will work. That one day, we in the diaspora will vote.
Thank you. And how can you say, Alpha, how can you say the same thing that Mr. Wetty has said without sounding like, hey, we are in the diaspora, we know better. We cannot be bought, but you can be bought.
I don't want to, I'm not saying that. I know tomorrow they will say that. That's not what he said.
That's why I said you got to be politically correct. So how can we rephrase that same sentence?
I'm not saying we're better than Liberia. God, I know that would be the argument.
Okay,
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that. You know, with my level of resources that I have, you are not going to come to me to buy me a bag of rice for vote. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Alpha.
So Dennis, we need to be realistic. The only way Liberia, like the Republic of Liberia, will accelerate its development is the diaspora have to have an intentional partnership with the homeland, and that strategy has to be intentional. It has to be measurable in order for us to move our country to the next level. We're not smarter than the homeland. The homeland is not smarter than us. Matter of fact, we only, because of the war, some of us had a privilege to leave. However, the fact that Liberians all across the globe have left, and some of them are in the Western world, they're experiencing government, they're experiencing economic wealth, they're experiencing just positivity. That resource has to go back, and it's going to take a partnership between the homeland and the diaspora community. The diaspora community is definitely not smarter, but the diaspora community have traveled throughout the world, and they've seen best practices, they've seen bad practices, and I think together, if we can have an intentional homeland and diaspora strategy, we will be able to move Liberia forward. And it start with us participating in determining who our leaders are. If we don't have the resources to travel all the way to Liberia twice to be able to vote.
And let's be honest about this. It's like the politicians in Liberia, it is not for a lot of them, it's not in their interest that you vote, because what they are definitely, most people vote because of harsh economic conditions. And so they will not be able to buy you. So, Mr. Wetton, you can say that, right?
No,
So,
no, no.
yeah,
That is
so yeah, I'm coming. I'm
okay.
setting the stage.
Okay.
You know that if this put you in trouble, it's part of my job for you to get in trouble. But let me say that it is not in the interest of the people that go there and just divide money, divide t-shirt, and people vote for them. They will not give you t-shirt, or you cannot go to vote because of t-shirt. So it's not in their interest that out of country voting becomes law. Do you recognize that?
Dennis, it's not the question. It's in the interest or not. It's in the interest of Liberia. These were the same people that said in the past that it's not in our interest to have dual citizenship. You can't determine the future of this country. You can't do that. The people will. All we have to do is to keep the discussion on the table. Advocacy is not an event, it's a process. So we'll keep this thing on the table, just as we did from 2012 to 2022 to have dual citizenship. We'll do the same. And where we can't make it and we need the stage, the next generation will follow. Then if diaspora Liberians are determined to be involved in every aspect of that country across the globe. You go everywhere, Liberians are going back home. They are going back home in record numbers. They are going back home. So if you think that these people are going back home just to look, no, they are doing what we call soft learning. They're going back to observe, they're going back to look. The next time they'll start planting a tree, the tree will start having a forest, and there you go. So those that are in political leadership, it's up to you. Sooner or later, time will allow you to give way. Just as we got dual citizenship, we will get other country voting one day. Even if it's not in our lifetime, it will happen.
It will happen in your lifetime. And let me bring one question. Quite recently, Liberia, and I wish when we have the out of country voting, we should have the ability to be able to vote in everything, including referendum, different things, county superintendent, everything. We should vote, and there is a way. I'm working on that, and I will announce to you.
Good,
So,
good.
right, Liberia just signed a $124 million MOU with the United States. And I was reading about that, reported from the US standpoint, they say has outlined in the America First global health strategy. The United States will sign multi-million bilateral agreement on global cooperation with dozens of countries receiving US health assistance in the coming weeks. People are saying, they want to get our data. There are countries that are signing on so that they say, well, we're going to set up some systems to improve, global health, those kind of things. Alpha, you read on that? Did that scare you? Because what they are signing with with Liberia, they say is on Liberia or America First agenda. Anytime you hear America First, they say this landmark agreement will advance a comprehensive and shared vision directly between the U.S. and recipient countries for continued future cooperation on global health issues. The agreement will also maximize the impact of our global health assistance and strengthen our bilateral relationship, while simultaneously saving millions of lives. In other words, hey, we want to partner with you. We are giving you 24 million. We want to work with you against polio, HIV, tuberculosis, and the rest. In other words, we want to fight it at that point before it comes to us in the US. And this is part of the America First agenda. Most of the things that originate from here, and we see them. How do we have a say so if we are not voting? So right now, like for me, when I read this, I panicked because I work in healthcare IT. And I know what electronic medical record can do, what health data is. And if somebody say, hey, we want your health data, And here, even your own child, you can have their health record. It's scary stuff, huh?
Yeah.
What can we so how does out of country voting address some of these things? Because it's like we're not voting, we're only talking. So we have no impact.
And then this platform like this allow us to start having this conversation. And the last few years, a lot of the conversations were already around dual citizenship. There were hints about out of country voting, but now the conversations around out of country voting has really been trying to take shape. This is a huge endeavor. There's a lot of logistics involved, a lot of politics involved, and not one organization will be able to implement this. We need every single Liberian in the diaspora to participate in this process. We need every single Liberians in the different communities to be able to support this process because, like you rightly said, policy like these, America's first policy, we don't have control over it because we want the money. But if we're involved in the process, look, the diaspora has a lot of money. Like we are the middle class of Liberia. We have a lot of money. We have a lot of resources. We have the degrees. We have the technical expertise. And Liberia can utilize our expertise and our resources so that when these type of proposals come on the table, we have the right individuals that are analyzing them and making sure that it's in the best interest of the people. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation around out of country voting is being amplified, and I hope that we continue to amplify it through different channels.
Okay, well, those who watching us, what are they saying? Caroline said, I think it will be good for us to be able to vote. That Washington diaspora Liberian cannot easily be bought. Moriba said, Mr. Wetti, why can we focus on preventing trucking first? As if we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Leroy Sampson said, this is wholeheartedly in the interest of those in the outside world. Caroline again, some of us don't want job, we just want to vote for the right person that will put our country and people first over interest. The diaspora must organize themselves, then they will realize the amount of power they have.
Yeah.
So Mr. Wetti raised valid point, the diaspora contributes so much and voting from abroad should not be impossible. Hopefully one day Liberia will adopt a system that allows us to vote globally. Other African countries are doing out-of-country voting. We can do it too. Mr. Wetti, most of the time when we talk about out-of-country voting or diaspora, attention is on North America and Europe. Is this work also people in Ghana, in Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire?
Yes, well, when we speak of other country voting, we talk about Liberia in the diaspora. That's on all the continent on the planet Earth. That's what we're talking about. But again, we want to say for the record that the geographical location where the voting will take place will be determined by the government of Liberia. I mean, like any other country, if they say, look, we are going to China, we're going to the United States, they will make that determination. It's not we're not in the business of making that determination.
But is it optional for them, or they have to? It's constitutional.
Well, look, let me just say something that let's take for example, the government of Liberia not going to come to the United States and have a voting booth in every state. They're not going to do that. I mean, they don't have the money. Let's be honest. So
what I'm saying is this something? Do they have option? Are you begging them, or you are demanding what is your right?
No, I know it is my right, but I'm doing a soft way to ask for my right because what the government. Let me say for the record, the issue we're talking about, we're not talking about it today. We started a long time ago. The government had made it very clear to us that they don't have the money, they don't have the platform, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have it.
So the issue of them money.
The issue having money.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying to you, that's what they've been telling us. You know, that was the main thing. So what we see here is that if we do not find a way to keep the issue on the table, one day it will drop. And that's why we're coming up that in America, we want a full scale of the country voting. We can do a phase. We can do one phase where we're going to have the registration done in the diaspora and you can go home and vote. If we can achieve that in that phase, then of course, then we'll go to the next phase. And
That's
Mr. Tongo, your boss may always let you talk small.
no. So what he's saying, a lot of the case studies that we've been reading around this topic, they're done in phases, right? Because of, and I keep going back to the logistics that's involved. So what they do, they pilot certain areas where there are densities. Senegal did it. They will attack, like for instance, if it's the UK or if it's the US. Yes, the law is there, it blanketed. However, because of the cost that's involved, and for them to still be able to test the process as it relates to security, the integrity of the relationship, they will put it in pilot stages to manage that area. So part of our approach or part of our proposal is we're gonna ask for some pilots. So we will be able to work with the government or other international partners to see if we can get the resources to pilot it in certain areas so that we can test it. But I don't know if it will be advantageous to deploy this at every region where there are Liberians outside of Liberia without already testing it to ensure that the process work. What we don't want to do is deploy something that eventually fails or that the integrity of the elections becomes questioned. So a lot of the case studies that we've read is they pilot it in order for them to test it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching us and want to be part of the debate, please call the number that is on the screen now, that is scrolling down there. That's the number to call. That's 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Call that so that you can participate, because the Constitution says do this. It's like Mr. Wetty and Arco, at least they want to take it step by step. But sometimes you have to push a little harder, right? Because you're supposed to do this. We normally even the money we spend on certain things, and Mr. Wetty, to your point, currently the money we spend on election, we ask the money from other people. Other people give us the money, and we use our own money to buy gas, scratch card, travel, DSA, and all that. Apply. Right now, the competition is on party headquarters. $1 million spent on party headquarters, and somebody tell you, say, hey, I don't have money for your constitutional right to be respected and protected. But again, when you say when your finger is somebody more, you can come their head.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. What are some of the baby steps that we can take now? Let me give you an example. Even when we just had a successful all diaspora conference, maybe the first time for the government to really be involved and people coming together. To me, that's one baby step. I've been advocating as the talk show host, perhaps the greatest who ever do this thing in Liberia. I've been advocating that why can't we have at least a town hall, where say President Bouaka is here, we can come together as talk show hosts or journalists and host a virtual meeting. That's at least one baby step of working together and the government respecting our rights, respecting us as citizens, and not always a favor. Because when a government official come, if you are from that political party, then they come to you, or if you are from that representative district or ethnic group, so it's like it's a favor. They're not doing it as they're doing us a favor, even if they will come to a meeting and talk to us. they are not doing it. That's something they have to do, they're supposed to do, and they must do. Because the diaspora too, we are being so fragmented that we cannot act together and get something accomplished together. What are some of the biggest steps ACO is taking so that the government here recognize us as a unit and do business with us? Because out of country voting is a big stuff, it's a big deal. What are some of the small things you can do first?
What small thing we do, we are going to talk to key players in Liberia and say, look, this idea of having registration in the diaspora, if you go there, you want to generate income for the government, people are going to buy the passport. You're going to have a database of Liberians in the diaspora. You will have all of these things that will help you get a comprehensive understanding of where Liberians are in the diaspora. If we can have people to register at the embassy or other places, then they can go back to Liberia, election time, and cast their vote. Those are baby steps. That is not a full scale of the country voting. So if we can have the aforementioned of a pilot program and have an understanding and test the security, because one thing that we want to consider is the integrity of the electoral process. So we have to do something that will protect that integrity. So for now, our goal is to have a full scale on the country voting in the future. However, for now, we can have the registration at the embassy, at the consulate, or somewhere of interest. Then you go to Liberia and vote. Because Dennis, if you're going to have me make three trips to cast one vote, if you can save me 2 trips, that money can be used in the Liberian economy, either to campaign, either to help another person go to school, either to do something different, either extend my time at where I'm living or do things, because that money can be used and go back in the Liberian economy. So these are the baby steps that we want to suggest. Let's have registration here in the diaspora and go to Liberia and vote.
You muted.
We have already callers lined up. There are plenty of works. But Alpha, I've given some baby steps, some different things that we can do. What are some of your thoughts?
So
Because if you don't practice, on a D12 fee and you say you won't play ATS, people will die.
That's true. That's true. And I appreciate that question. Baby step in my view as the national coordinator for ACO is first thing we started doing is really setting up a committee. And this committee, we actually have a request to bring additional people on this committee. A committee, it would be a working group focusing on different aspects of the advocacy. There will be groups that are focusing on the research aspect of it, groups focusing on the political aspect, the advocacy aspect, the financial aspect, so that we can put a collective voice together first, right? And we're inviting Liberians from the entire diaspora to participate in this working group. And matter of fact, just reading some of the chat, saw some really good ideas that we looking to implement. So once we can get a strong working group that's committed and willing to ride with us through this process, then we will start putting some little items together. And one of the things that we want to do is really create the awareness in the Liberian communities. We want to go to every Liberian communities in America, whether it's in Minnesota, Atlanta. We want to visit the churches. We want to speak about this topic. We want to gauge them. We want to see how they feel about it. And I think from our perspective, that's the baby steps that we can take in order to get the conversation going. Once we can get enough buy-in from the diaspora and ensure that we're all on the same page, I think we'll be able to make bigger impacts and go straight for the out-of-country voting.
Thank you. Let me see what Joe Moyu say about this. Joe, you are live.
Yes, sir, guys. usual. I'm really enjoying the conversation. First of all, I would like to give credit and thanks to Mr. Wetty and his group for bringing this dual citizenship to the fore. When you have a country where the remittances surpasses the funds collected by government, it's for a time that recognition be given to the diaspora community. But something I wanted to ask Mr. Wetty as well, as we make having this conversation, there's a bill about to be passed through the U.S. Congress. It's called the Exclusive Citizenship Act of 2025, and it was introduced by Bernie Moreno of Ohio. That bill is to deny dual citizenship to Americans. So let's see. I don't know if he's heard about it, and if he has, what sort of strategy going forward should we come out with?
I myself, thank you very much for that question. It's a very great question. In fact, prior to this show, many people have called my attention on that bill. Let me say one thing to we Liberians. The issue of dual citizenship is not isolated to us. There are other countries in the world. So, countries upon countries in the world that have dual citizenship. And despite the fact that I don't want to challenge my own congressman from Ohio, I strongly believe that bill will not see the day of light. I mean, that's my belief.
I agree with you. In fact, most people are saying that the president's wife is also a dual citizen. All his kids are dual citizens with the exception of one. So
I mean, that bill is just for political assumption. I mean, assumption, but I don't want to go deeper into American politics, but from my reading and what I'm looking at and knowing the impact that bill will have if it passes, then I don't see it making any daylight in the U.S. Corridor of lawmaking. I don't see that. I could be wrong.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dennis.
Thank you. And you are dual citizenship, so don't be afraid of going to American politics.
I agree. But what I'm saying that bill will not see the day of light. I mean, period.
All right. Let me go to Toa. Call out your name and where you calling from, please.
Yeah, Toa, and I'm in the States.
Go ahead.
Yes, yes, I feel the out of the country voting should not be allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, it will put an emphasis on Liberians to come back home, and that's one. And the other thing I want to say about the dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
The prophecy said in the last days, everybody will go back to their own place anyway. So all these things is already unfolding. So that's what I want to say about this topic.
Oh, okay. You say we shouldn't allow dual citizenship so that it will force us to go back to Liberia? I mean, we shouldn't allow out of country voting?
Now, it will put an emphasis on Liberians all over the world to come back and vote. Instead of being all over the world and saying, "Oh, I'll be on this side and I will vote," but no, it should be in Liberia and voting.
Why?
Not all over the place.
Why?
Because that's the only way Liberia can improve. Only Liberians can fix Liberia in Liberia. We can't be So we gotta.
And the way to do it is by voting too, right? Or is the way to do it is by sending money there, by voting, by building your houses there. But you say we can do all of these things except that we shouldn't vote while we're in America. But we can send people to school while we're in America.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
like the war and everything happening, and we all scattered all over the world. I think by now we all got our knowledge and degrees all these years in foreign land. I think we should just bring all that stuff back there and build it with our own hands.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me take the next caller here is Anthony Gay. Anthony, you're live.
Thank you, Mr. Ja. Hopefully, we don't follow here, but I thought we just spoke. I hope we can move back to Liberia so we can start contributing to the country. And you don't want us to vote here. Mr. Worthy, I want to say thank you for your advocacy. I want to say thank you for your hard work and your partner Alpha. But I am the one person who always think as though this way of going for half as opposed to going for the whole. Because when you go for the whole and they give you a half, that's fine. But all I'm hearing from you is you advocating for half. Let's advocate for the whole, and then when they give us half, we accept. What am I saying here? Many Liberians, and you can see on the comment section and even on the call, and after the show is ended, many people watch this show because the way to cast their ballot here in the U.S. so it's so hard. Many of us. So if it's a money issue, then just tell us how much is needed. Whether $50 or $150 would cost me to cast my vote here, or even at $200, I would rather cast my vote here than to be on that plane to go to Liberia. And that's the thing that we ought to be discussing, Mr. Worthy and your partner. Let us know what is that cost. It will cost the government. We know it will go to cost. Nothing is free. But what is that cost that we can work towards? Because we want to be able to shift the narrative and the paradigm in Liberia. And the way we can do it, in the last 2023 election, the diaspora present in a national election, especially from the House of, from the legislature, we have a president. People left from here became representatives. People supported people from here who won. And we can do similar things by voting here. Because many of us here will vote on the issue. We will not vote because poverty has a way to diminish one's ability to make a rational decision. So many of these folks are pushed against the wall because they really don't want to vote for these people for X condition that they created for them is getting the house. And so we want to be able to vote here. Just let us know what they're going to cost us. We know it's expensive, but what is that expense?
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Let me
very much.
Yeah, write it down. Let me tell a few more because I do not believe that the government of Liberia has actually looked into out of country voting, saying out of the blue that that money. I believe that's not true. But let me bring in more colors here. We have Maktore Joe Malley. Go ahead, Mr. Maktore.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, thanks, man, Mr. Jai, and thanks to the partners in studio. I mean, words are adequate to express, how I feel about these guys, emerging with such a brilliant, and comprehensive idea. We always been saying, Liberians in the diaspora, whether Australia, anywhere, are the most powerful, citizen, in Liberia. I mean, if you want to double check the facts, it's up to you. But let me just tell you, went to Ghana when the war was Liberia, the Civil War. The amount of Liberians that were in Ghana who are feeding them for right here, money from people's pockets. And people that live in Ghana, that those are all that want to school in Ghana. When you go into and you see the lines to the Western Union. So to make long matter short, it's workable. It's definitely workable. We know it's just that we need to ask for help. We can't do it all by ourselves. We need to ask the Americans, and organizations around here that are responsible for voting, to prop us up. The government in Liberia cannot fight us, even the diaspora. Trust me. You know how many money that comes from here every day? People see the homes around here in Liberia economically. So if it comes to the aspect of voting, yes, we can make it. It's just that we have to be a little bit organized, organized, to make it transparent. I think that's the part that's the only issue for nothing short of that. Look, this is 2025. Technologically, things like can move. You understand? So I mean, those guys deserve a high five, man. And this is what we're looking for. And it's not all, and we can carry more development to Liberia. I was just listening to somebody, recently said that if they can have a fixed price for the containers that are living for overseas Liberians and carrying, you will see a lot of things in Liberia. It means that if you can sell 40 feet container, it's about $2,000. Like a lot of Liberians will carry things to Liberia. So I mean, Mr. Dennis, there's no need to tout, the project you guys are bringing on. Yes, it will go a long way. Somebody in my daughter will ask me, when would I go to Liberia? She's an American Liberian. No matter what you do, you can never take that nomenclature from her. She's an American Liberian. And you see, so I mean, this is a brilliant idea, and I have no doubt. I'm not even skeptical. I'm not even, apprehensive that it will not work. It will work.
Thank you.
So I want to, congratulate the folks in the studio, hats off, and definitely get support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get the last caller here. 215 area code. Your name and where you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your name and where you calling from?
This is Bati, and I want to congratulate Doyen and Alpha for the tremendous work they're doing. I want to tell you that because the caller before the last caller asked the question I wanted to ask. Basically, is the total cost. Do we have any estimate from government sources or even from ARCO on the total cost of this project, whether at the pilot level or at the general level?
Thank you. Mr. Walter, please write that down in Alpha. Let me get 970 area code, your name and where you calling from.
Yes, hello, my name is Kaliatu.
Welcome, Kaliatu.
Call from Colorado.
Thank you.
Yes, hello, my name is Kaliatu. Yeah, regarding the last person that said about us going to Liberia and everybody moving to Liberia, but he said he's still in the city, right?
Yes, I suppose. Can you turn off the device that you're watching us from so we can get you clearly?
Yeah, that was so funny to me. Yeah, but I don't know how. First of all, this is what the two guys are talking about, Mr. Wesley and Mr. Alpha. We have to set, like Liberia. Yes, we went to 23 years of. I mean, we're just 23 years in. Not even 23 years out of a war that devastated the country, and a lot of us have our lives here, and we're trying to rebuild. I mean, for us to be able to leave what we have here and go where we're supporting people back home, there has to be proper infrastructure there. So he can say that for everybody to just get up and go. I mean, he can probably see the path and we can follow him. But I just want to tell the two guys, thank you for what they're doing. And I just want to ask them, like, how impactful has the citizenship, the dual citizenship been so far? What are the outcomes that they're seeing? Because I've heard a lot of complaints from people about, they still aren't able to maneuver in Liberia with their Liberian citizenship. And also want to ask, for some of us that, like, I left Liberia at the age of 13, I don't know if there's a pastor that's still in Liberia that can attest to me being born, that knows me. would our passport not suffice if we have like our country of birth in Liberia? Will a citizenship be able to share citizenship in Liberia as well?
Thank you. We'll turn it over to Mr. Wetty and the team.
Well,
That tells me that you have a lot of work to do. Because
yeah,
you was 13. How can she get a Liberian passport?
well, she can get a Liberian passport by going to the embassy of Liberia. She can Google embassy of Liberia, Washington D.C. There's a form that she can complete and just prove. They ask you to prove that you either you're a Liberian, your parents are Liberian, or something like that, and you'll be able to get your Liberian passport. Very simple, very easy. There's
How
no.
can-
What kind of documentation would I need to show because my birth certificate is non-existent? I guess it was destroyed in a war, so I don't know.
Okay, so if you don't have a birth certificate, don't quote me on this, but I think there is a rule that says you need 2 letters, either from renowned Liberian to witness to testify you are a Liberian. There is an alternative if you don't have your birth certificate. But look at the form. But that form will tell you. And let me give you my number. You can call me. We can call the embassy, and we can try to resolve it. 614-483-8192. I can help you go through it with the Liberian embassy. I've done it before.
I didn't have a pen. What was it again?
614-483-8192.
Yeah, because I'll actually be in Liberia this December. I leave the day after Christmas, and I'm going with my daughter, who was also born here. Her father is Liberian, and we would like to get our Liberian.
In fact, that make it very easy. If
you are in the right place.
Yeah. In fact, that would be very easy. If you are in Liberia, if you go to the foreign ministry, just take your document. Your children will get the passports. And I gave you my number. You can call me on WhatsApp if you have any issue.
Thank you so much, sir. And I will also love to connect with you at Alpha and see, just to be part of connecting with you guys and the work that you're doing and see if there's a way to, any way to support you all in the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kadiato.
Yeah, yes. And the other question.
And Dennis, thank you for everything that you do. I watch a lot of your videos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Dennis, and to our platform guests, ICO is not putting the full or the country voting on the back burner. We're not doing it. Our end goal is out of country voting. That's the end goal. What we are seeing is that based on conversations and other things, we want to keep the discussion on the table. So even if we can have a full one where we can sit, we can go to the embassy and vote, at least give us the opportunity, save us that money of making multiple trips just to cast one vote.
Okay.
And yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what we are doing both together. We are doing everything together. But we just see that in the event we don't have a full scale or the country voting in 2029, save us 2 trips or 1 trip. That's all we're saying. Yes.
And you saying at least that the one Anthony gave 1 year.
Yeah, but Gay, I understand. Gay, I understand your point. I understand exactly what you're saying. I myself, I don't like the idea, but when you're in leadership and you're closer to the oxygen of power and you're hearing stuff, you got to adjust. What is the ultimate goal? What do you want to achieve? How do you achieve it? These are things require strategic thinking and finding the best way possible.
Thank you. And if you want to connect with ACO, you can send them email info@arco.org, or you can visit the website is www.arcoliberia.org. Please write that down, jot that down, and then ACO is your friend. At the website, I'm going to put that in the comments as well. Or you send your email info@arco.org, and somebody is going to respond to you. Let's wrap it up. Let's talk about especially the Bati Tukwa and the others asked for how much it will cost. Because if you want to get a plan, government of Liberia, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they ever look into it. Let's say that.
Well, I thank Batty for asking the question. I remember in one of the meetings with the election commission, they were scouting around $5 million. I mean, that's what they were saying. I'm not, but the person said we're not too sure. They were looking at other numbers for other places. But actually, to admit, there have not been no study, done to say this is how much the cost value will be. Yeah. So that's why we want to keep the discussion on. And as we engage the players and the people of interest, we'll know the actual value. Because everybody is 2029. At least let's start having the discussion now and start doing the study to see how much it will cost, and we can know the best path and the best way to go. But in the conversation with the election commission, in one of the conversations in the meeting, I heard $5 million.
Yeah, which is so small. Even if you make it 10, even if you make it 10 million, just by foregoing one agriculture break for the lawmakers, we can get that money. Just say this year it's raining, I will bake your when I go. We can get the money. So, and that's why I said, I don't think the issue is money. People just put that forward so that they won't do what it's supposed to do.
And then is on that video, if you can play the one from Dr. Kula, just the one from Dr. Kula, is speak on the election. It's the second video.
We're wrapping it up now. I don't think I have the one from Dr. Kula.
It's after the revenue.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So, join us tomorrow at 7:30. We're going to be discussing Cape Verde on our show Roundtable Africa. Well, we're talking about African countries and some issues around Africa. Always join us. Mohammed Sharif is well learned when it comes to these issues, and he will be our guest right here on Focus on Liberia. Mr. Welty and Mr. Tonga, I want to thank you guys so much for coming at this time. Let's wrap up. Let's get your closing comment, Mr. Tonga, starting with you, and then Mr. Welty. If there's anything we didn't cover that you want to tell us, or if there's anything that you want us to do as a result of this broadcast, please let our viewers know.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for inviting us on this show. And it's interesting you're having a show on Cape Verde tomorrow. They themselves they participate in out of country voting, and for them they include MPs, which is the members of parliament. So what we're arguing or what we're discussing now is not strange. The will is there, the resources are there. But let me just tell you, for our perspective, we're very intentional in how we're going to move forward with this advocacy. We have set up a clear roadmap, and that has three separate focus. One focus is the political commitment and legal reform. I know you had discussed earlier that the government might not want it, but we're part of our conversation is to encourage the government to make a public statement on out of country voting. If they can make that public statement, that means they have the will. And where there's will, what's that statement? It said, once there's will, there is a way, right? So that's our first step in this roadmap, is to ensure that we get some type of public commitment from them. And then we also, part of that first step is to ensure that they amend the elections law to explicitly lay out a provision for out of country voting. You rightly said earlier, as of now, the law does not, there is no law that really speaks on what out of country voting is. So that's something that our roadmap want to cover as well. And we also want to ensure that diaspora registration, we want to create diaspora registration centers across all of our major consulates and our major embassies where there are densities of Liberian. So that's our first step in our roadmap, is that political commitment and legal reform. The next step is our institutional setup. Like we rightly said earlier, we're not going to be able to do this just by ourselves. We have to bring in partnership with the National Elections Commissions, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Office of Diaspora Affairs, IOM, and all of these big organizations that participate in peace and democracy across the country. We have already started having conversations with some institutional partners that we will be hosting a symposium sometimes earlier in the year. And once the detail of that come up, we'll be able to share it. But the whole goal with this institutional partner is to help us do that research in terms of what the actual cost is going to look like. Right now, we have estimates, but nothing's on paper that says it's going to cost us $5 million or $10 million, and this is how we're going to utilize it. So part of that institutional partnership is to bring doctoral students. They are working. We have few Fairbury scholars, if I may. I forgot the word.
Fulbright.
Fulbright scholars that will be working with us on really coming and put fine tuning what that cost analysis looks like, so we can be able to present it. And then the third phase in our roadmap is pilot a design to manage the cost. Like I said earlier, we might not deploy at every major cities or countries where the diasporas are. We will work together to select few of those cities or countries, so that we can work with UNDP, IOM, and International IDEA to be able to accomplish this. It's going to be a tough task. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be an uphill battle. There's going to be a lot of political pushback. But we strongly believe that once the diaspora is behind us, we will be able to make this happen together. So if you're interested in working with our advocacy, if you're interested in joining any one of our committees, please just visit our website at www.acor.org, or you can send us an email at info@acor.org. And Daniel, thank you. Mr. Ja, thank you so much for having us on your show today.
Thank you. Also, tomorrow, we're going to be watching Abby Tyler Healthy Living, which comes on every Tuesday at 7. Tomorrow is a special one because there had been a mother and her kids in Chicago got beaten and jumped on by little kids after she was taking her kids to school. So there has been a lot of talk about this. So Abby is going to be having a psychologist as well to talk about the incident, what happened, the issue around peer pressure and all that stuff. So please be sure to tune in tomorrow, Thursday at 7:30 p.m. for Abby Tyler Healthy Living, which comes your way every Tuesday at 7. Mr. Watty, again, you're closing, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to say thank you, Dennis, and to our platform, our cyberspace, our friends out there. If you are in Liberia for the 20, for the Christmas, please don't forget to join the diaspora on the return. This coming Friday, there will be the welcoming program. Check the website, look for all the information, and you can contact Erasmus and other people for the diaspora on the return. Well, coming back to the main thing of ICO, I want to say thank you, Dennis. Dennis, your show was the first show that really took us out in the dual citizenship thing. When everybody discounted us, you always hosted us to make our view. Now you're starting A again with the other country voting. I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell Alpha thank you for all of the contribution. To end it, I want to say thank you to everybody for their support. ICO is for full other country voting. ICO is for removing the restrictions on the dual citizenship law. All we're saying is that, look, if we cannot have a full other country voting for 2029, the law currently, as a result of the dual citizenship law, you can leave from here, go to Liberia, register to vote, come back to the States, and go back to Liberia to vote. What we're saying here is that, look, you can save us 1 or 2 trips. A team from the Election Commission, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and other parties of interest can come here, register diaspora Liberian, and they can go home and vote. That's all we are saying. But at the end of the day, we want a full scale on the country voting. I want to tell Alpha, thank you for your contribution. And Alpha then will be leading. You know, as you know, Daniel, I'm already leaving the stage. So these are the young people that will be taking over. So one of these days, you may not see me, you'll see Alpha with other people coming. So this is the beginning of the beginning of the transition of me gradually leaving. For all the other kids, I want to say thank you. I also want to say thank you to those people who have called to support me. As you know, on the 3rd of December, I had a bad accident. And I want to say thank you to everybody that called in to say hi, you know, to support me, to the prayer, everything. And thank you, everybody. Be with us. Just as you supported us for dual citizenship, believe that we shall give you all the country voting one day. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. I want to thank our viewers for watching. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Until then, we close with a song that says, whether you believe out of country voting we should vote or we should all go back home and don't vote yet, we are all Liberians. What is incumbent upon all of us is to do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good night and God bless.
Thank you.
We are Liberians.